going, everybody? This is Dailies to Downloads. My name is Chad. With me is Erik. We are back with you this week for something a little bit different than what we would normally do, I suppose. We're going to do a little bit of a Golden Globes preview because that is the topic that lights up the internet these days. Golden Globes previews, right, Erik? I know that even though this isn't our favorite award ceremony or the most prestigious, we figured we would have a little bit of a chat about some of the things going on in the award circuit and who we think has momentum right now anyway, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a key word, like momentum. Given how extra long this year's award season is,
Right.
we still have another 2 months to go. It's and nothing new is going to be coming out in those 2 months. So now it is about momentum and things that are changing.
Hey,
So
bite your tongue. The Snyder cut of Justice League is on its way.
You're right. I mean, that could throw a whole kitchen sink into the proceedings. Who knows?
Right. Well, the Golden Globes this year, as would be a surprise to no one, is going to be a virtual event, and it is going to be on NBC this Sunday. This Sunday as we record, or maybe it already happened if you're watching this after Sunday. But it's going to be hosted by Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, and Tina Fey is going to be in New York, and Amy Poehler is going to be at the Dolby Theater in LA. So they're going to be in separate locations for this to host. So it should be interesting. And, before we get to some of the categories, now I should add, we're only going to be covering the movie categories here. There's obviously a lot going on in the TV sections and the, limited series or miniseries categories as well. I'm certainly rooting for the Queen's Gambit in those categories, but we certainly haven't seen every TV show. So we're going to comment on the movies. That's what we are here to talk about anyway. So
yeah, and the Globes usually, I feel like they're usually the first to honor like a really super new hot TV series. Given the timing, right? Because the Emmys are in September, so the Globes are usually known for one of the cliches that they'll award whatever the new cool. I don't even know what those contenders would be this year, but that's usually how the Globes go. They're usually the first to crown a new. No pun intended.
Yeah, I mean, Ted Lasso is getting a lot of positive buzz. I certainly don't know if that's going to win. I know a lot of people I've talked to have watched it and said they've enjoyed it. So there are shows like that are new, in certain categories. So
Emily in Paris. Let's hope not. Not. But hey, The Mandalorian, perhaps.
You never know.
Yeah.
So one of the things that will be different this year, not only because it's virtual, but is that the Golden Globes are always known for being a little bit more silly in that people can drink. And I suppose people can still drink from the privacy of their own home, but it'll be a little bit different in that they will be in their homes and not with other people mingling, which tends to bring out the, more of the silliness in some of these celebrities, I would think. But
now they can snort lines of cocaine in their own homes during commercial breaks.
That would be so amazing. And then somebody says, well, I'm doing this here, but I wouldn't do this for the Oscars.
Exactly. Yeah, you're not the Beverly Hilton for this one.
So the Globes, to me, I'll be honest, even though the Oscars are more prestigious, the Globes ceremony itself, disregarding the quality of films or actors, is a little bit more of a fun experience for me watching, simply because, in the past few years, Ricky Gervais has hosted, and, I always enjoy his comedy. But it just seems to be a little bit more of a relaxed event, despite the fact that it's not taken as serious. But we'll see what this one is, because, virtual award ceremonies can be awkward and have some issues, depending on internet and feeds and
that's the biggest. If they are really doing it live, and as the nominees are announced and the one person wins, that is such a tough. Now we've seen a few shows that have done that, the virtual the Emmys and stuff like that, and they've pulled it off relatively well. So it'll be weird for the tributes. I know Jane Fonda and Norman Lear. I think these two tributes are Norman Lear and Jane Fonda. Like, it'll be weird for them giving like a career overview speech from their living room, I guess. But
with their dog right there or something.
Exactly.
So, you know what? Let's get started with some of the categories. Now, these are in no particular order. They're just kind of in the order of the site that I got them from. So we're going to start here with Best Director for Motion Picture. We have Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman, David Fincher for Mank, Regina King for One Night in Miami, Aaron Sorkin for The Trial of the Chicago 7, and Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. So obviously what makes this one interesting is that historically the Globes have not recognized female directors a lot. And this year there's 3 in the category, which is very good news. And, you know, although I have not seen Promising Young Woman because currently it's still $20 to rent. I really do want to see it though. But you know, I can certainly speak for the other 2 females that is well deserved. You know, for me personally, this is very much a hodgepodge though, like in terms of quality films and direction for me. Like David Fincher is there. I don't know if I would have put him there, but you know, for me, this is the Chloe Zhao's category to lose. You know, I mean, I think that she's a front runner, and I just saw Nomadland. It's very good, and the direction is certainly a highlight. So, what do you think, Erik?
I think so. Then adding in like how the Globes also kind of sometimes throw a little bit of a shocker in there, because it is such a small voting body. There's a chance that I could see Aaron Sorkin winning as well. Not my personal choice, but I could definitely see the you know, not to get too far ahead, but like Trial of Chicago 7 doing very well. It's very accessible. So
no, you're right. That I
could be Chloe Zhao, but Aaron Sorkin I think is a spoiler. And yeah, it would be amazing if like then at the Oscars we get at least 2 women directors nominated. That would be a first as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what happens. Let's get to the next one. Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. We have Maria Bakalova from Borat subsequent movie film, Kate Hudson for Music, Michelle Pfeiffer for French Exit, Rosamund Pike for I Care a Lot, and Anya Taylor-Joy for Emma. So this is obviously another category that has, you know, it kind of runs the gamut of tones here. So Erik, I'll let you start with this one. What do you think is going to happen here?
Well, I'll just say that the Kate Hudson nomination is the most Golden Globes-y kind of thing for the Sia directed feature film that's already been controversial in some circles. But I think it's going to be this category. Michelle Pfeiffer is very good in French Exit. It's like very, very dark comedy. And I wish that film would have been released a little bit earlier in this whole race so it could be seen. But I think it's Maria Bakalova.
She seems to have a lot of, as we were saying earlier, momentum.
And also I think it helps that like I think she's definitely going to be nominated for an Oscar, and she's going to be nominated for an Oscar in the supporting actress category. So the fact that they bumped her up to lead for these comedy categories at the Globes makes me think that that means that she's definitely got the momentum and the front runner.
I guess this is a case where I'm kind of, you know, my opinion of the movie and my opinion of the performance are kind of, you know, intermingling a little bit, because I did not like the movie, and a lot of critics did. I don't get it, and you know, but like I don't know, it's a weird one for her to be considered for an Oscar to me. Like, you know, like not that she's bad at it. She's a newcomer. She did very good with what she was given. Certainly, I just think like it's so weird to me that this is the front runner for like some of these.
Yeah, I mean, if it was any other category, like they also 15 years ago awarded Sasha Baron Cohen Best Actor for Borat in a comedy. So you know, so they've done this before, but I do think that idea of the lines being blurred. Well, it's not even lines being blurred in Borat's case of who's an actor, who's not an actor. My campaign for Rudy Giuliani for supporting actor didn't work out, but you know, but I do think like in the terms of like Nomadland, where it's a lot of non-actors,
right,
placed with like, you know, Frances McDormand, David Strathairn, and it's like a balance between. Borat's obviously a very different thing than that. It's a mockumentary prank kind of thing. But it is weird.
Was playing himself.
Yes. Well, in some ways, it's a different kind of role. Yeah. But that kind of like mixing of realism with the theatrical performance. In Borat, it is weird to be honoring her for what is essentially a prank jackass like kind of style.
Yeah.
Whatever you would call it. But yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, and this is probably the category I've seen the least amount of the movies. I certainly have seen Borat too, but some of these others are certainly on my list. The Kate Hudson, the music movie, I have zero interest
Yeah.
in.
I liked Emma. I mean, this is such a wide range. You have like Jane Austen style comedy, and you got Borat style comedy. So it's a pretty big spectrum of
and you have Anya Taylor-Joy here, who's also nominated for the Queen's Gambit. So this was a very big year for her, which is exciting. And I've heard good things about Emma. I think that's on HBO Max, so I'll have to check that out at some point. So let's move on. Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama. This is a big category. We have Rhiz Ahmed for Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins for The Father, Gary Oldman for Mank, and Tahar Rahim for The Mauritanian. So obviously, well, not obviously, but this one to me comes down to Rhiz Ahmed and Chadwick Boseman. And I know my wife listens to a lot of movie podcasts. I really don't anymore these days, movie podcast wise, but from what I've heard from her and overheard her listening, a lot of people think Chadwick Boseman is just a lock for the posthumous Oscar. I don't know that I would say he's a lock, because Rhiz Ahmed, has won some awards. So I think it's between the two of them. I would certainly, if it were me, posthumous or not, I would certainly give this to Chadwick Boseman. I thought he was really great and a standout. Rhiz Ahmed was very good too. Some of these, The Father, I have not seen yet because I'm honestly not sure. That doesn't come out until for a little bit yet, right, Eric?
So Sony Pictures Classics is opening it this Friday, but they are not doing any virtual stuff. So like, I do think I would have to go to New Jersey, somewhere in New Jersey, to see it in the theater in 10% capacity. But same with French Exit. They're not doing any virtual stuff, but they are quote unquote in theaters now.
Right. So yeah, we have to kind of go off what we can see. Gary Oldman was good in that movie, but yeah, to me this is like a 2-horse race. What do you think?
So I actually think that this would be the spoiler for Anthony Hopkins, because not that people think like this, but he's never won a competitive Golden Globe. He got an honorary Cecil B. DeMille Award, but he was nominated for Magic, TV series The 10th Man, Silence of the Lambs, Remains of the Day, Nixon, Amistad, Two Popes. Remember that?
The 10th Man, not the 6th Man with the.
No, not the 6th Man, not the Basketball Wayne's, not that one. This is called The 10th Man, which was a 1988 miniseries.
I just wanted to clarify.
He should. If Anthony Hopkins was in The 6th Man, that would have been. They would create a new award for that. And I could see that just because I saw the play on Broadway with Frank Langella, and it is like such a very showy, awardsy kind of role.
Right.
And he's like 90, Anthony Hopkins, or close to 90 now.
Yeah.
So I could see it being Chadwick Boseman or Anthony Hopkins. I think Rhiz Ahmed, I think, is almost like too subtle for the Globes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Well,
that's the spoiler. Hopkins, potential.
I'm anxious to see what happens. I want to see that movie, The Father. So next category, Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. We have Sasha Baron Cohen for Borat's subsequent movie film. James Corden with The Prom. Lin-Manuel Miranda for Hamilton. Dev Patel for The Personal History of David Copperfield. And Andy Samberg for Palm Springs. So, the musical comedy category obviously is what sets the Globes apart from every other award show, in that, some of these movies that might not get recognized otherwise can get some time in the sun. And so this is obviously another interesting one. If I had to guess, this is going to be a Lin-Manuel Miranda win, but, maybe not. I mean, personally, I thought Palm Springs was great. I would love to see Andy Samberg win, but I don't see that happening. But if Borat 2 is high on people's lists, then he could walk away with it as well. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Hamilton's nominations throughout this season, because it obviously is not new in terms of, it's been on Broadway it was on Broadway for a while. Obviously, it's new that it came out in 2020 on HBO Max, but
Disney Plus.
Disney, Disney Plus. All these streaming services, Eric, they just run together.
I know. We didn't even talk about the Paramount Plus announcements today. It's been madness. But yeah, I think that's what this is such a rare thing that we are now accepting, given these crazy rules due to the pandemic. Like it's literally a filmed Broadway show.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And it was going to have a theatrical run, so I guess that's how it's allowed to qualify. But it's not allowed to qualify for the Oscars. They had to make make a clarification about that.
But the Oscars have much more stringent rules.
It's very bizarre. In 1975, someone was nominated for playing Harry. Give him Hell, Harry, playing Harry S. Truman.
Yeah.
And it was a live stage show that was released in theaters, and he got an Oscar nom for that. But then they changed the rules, so you can't do that anymore. But yeah, I guess I'd say Lin-Manuel Miranda. Did you see Hamilton?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just find it funny between the SAG Awards nominating to be Diggs there and stuff, that like nobody nominated Leslie Odom Jr. for Hamilton. Like I'd like, or any of the women. It just seems weird that Lin-Manuel Miranda is, to me, one of the weaker performers in it. But nonetheless,
I would tend to agree with you, actually. Like, not that he was. I mean, he was good at it, but like, I would say that other people in that show had showier roles that maybe garnered more attention.
Yeah, absolutely. The emotional heart, I feel like, are
right.
So it's just weird, but I guess I would still pick him because it's Hamilton, and I don't think Aaron Cohen's going to do it here.
Right. Next category, Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama. We have Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andra Day for The United States versus Billie Holiday, Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. So, this is a category where it could go a lot of different ways. I've heard Carey Mulligan has a lot of steam in that role. Frances McDormand is no stranger to winning awards. So depending on how voting bodies feel about that, she was certainly really good in it. Viola Davis is great as well. To me, I'm not sure at this point, Eric. You sometimes have your ear more to the ground as far as where the momentum is going. But I would think Frances McDormand is a front runner along with Carey Mulligan, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think we're speaking of categories. Like originally, Promising Young Woman was like qualified for comedy musical category, and that had like a backlash just based on the subject matter and how is it considered a comedy, blah 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 blah. And then it was reclassified.
Nobody saw the movie before they did just.
Perhaps, yeah, it was reclassified as drama, whatever. So that because if this was in the comedy and musical category, I think Carey Mulligan would win that hands down. Right. Now being up against Frances McDormand, I'll say Frances McDormand, but it's between those two, between Carey Mulligan and Frances McDormand, I would say.
Yeah. So. The next one I have on my list here is Best Motion Picture Drama, which we have The Father, Mank, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. So, I mean, Nomadland has been the movie that has all the momentum as far as the movie as a whole. The Globes are obviously different, so it might not go that way. I would think if it doesn't go the way of Nomadland, it might be The Trial of Chicago 7, as that's a much more Hollywoodized type of movie, as we've talked about in the past here. But I would think that Nomadland would be able to eke it out, but who knows?
I would say Trial of Chicago 7, just because it goes down the easiest, and like Nomadland, I could see people, everyone's talking about it now because it premiered on Hulu last week, so that's definitely the reason for its extra visibility, and I think that's smart. Like as Oscar voting takes place, more studios should be doing that around this time.
Right.
But I think Trial of Chicago 7 is the least offensive and like and you know it's a real crowd pleasing movie. It's a very Hollywood take on this. So I would say the Trial of Chicago 7.
All right.
Yeah.
Next category, best actor in a supporting role in any motion picture is the category. We have Sasha Baron Cohen for The Trial of Chicago 7, Daniel Kahlua for Judas and the Black Messiah, Jared Leto for The Little Things, Bill Murray for On the Rocks, and Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami. Jared Leto, I saw The Little Things. The movie itself didn't get a lot of positive hype. He's good.
Was it any good? It looked a little, yeah.
See, I thought it was okay for what it was. It had issues, but it's one of those movies that fashions itself like a mystery, but it's not really about catching a killer. You know, that's really the most I could say without giving too much away. Like to me, it was about other things, and I think when people saw the movie, maybe they expected something else. But you know, yeah, it was divisive to say the least. So you know, for me, you know, Daniel Kahlua is a front runner here. You know, on a future show, we'll talk more about that movie, obviously. But I like him here. But then again, I'm not sure if he has a momentum for the Globes. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I would pick him as well. I would actually pick him to probably to go all the way. The SAG Awards and the Academy Awards. It's also because, again, we'll talk about it in the future. Yeah, it's a lead role. It's a lead role. You know, and that usually helps in these categories. Like Brad Pitt last year. Like when you are co-lead of your movie in the supporting category, you're typically got the upper hand. And I don't think maybe Sasha Baron Cohen could get, because it's somewhat of a departure from Borat and all those things that we know him for.
Yeah.
So
now that you mentioned it, I have heard that he's a very strong contender here too.
Yeah, and he's also playing a real person, and like both Trial of Chicago 7 and Judas and the Black Messiah take place over like the same months. So, yeah. and like some of the Bobby Seale's a character mentioned in both and stuff. But yeah, but I think Daniel Kahlua is I would say is a lock. But yeah.
All right. So the next category, I don't know that we'll have much detail, much to have to say here, but best original motion picture. We have The Midnight Sky, Alexandre Desplat, Tenet, Ludwig Göransson. I don't know if I'm saying that name correctly. News of the World, James Newton Howard, Mac, Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, and Soul, Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, and John Batiste. You know, so this is kind of a toss, maybe not a toss up, but you know, these are certainly good scores.
Yeah,
I would think
these are like really famous. These are like big time composers. I feel like they're like kind of chose based on like, you know.
I don't know. Honestly, for this one, I don't know. I've heard good things about News of the World, you know, and I've seen Soul and Mank, so maybe Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross have this in some way, but who knows?
Yeah, I'll just guess Soul. The Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross stuff is all the stuff in the Soul universe, and all the stuff on Earth is the other guy, John Baptiste, I guess. But I'm just guessing. I'll just say Soul.
Okay. All right. So we're moving on here. Best motion picture, musical, or comedy. Borat subsequent movie film, Hamilton, Palm Springs, music, and The Prom. And as we've discussed, music is obviously the weird addition there. It's been very much panned, you know, since its release. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Hamilton. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say Hamilton as well. It would be interesting if like a Palm Springs surprise, but I just think Hamilton is just based on celebrity factor buzz for the past 5 years. I think Hamilton.
Yeah, and you know what? As a side thing, how can anybody compete with that? Like, this is a show that's been building momentum for years and years, and now everybody can see it. Everybody that's heard about it for so long, and now it's nominated for awards. That's I
kind of wish, like we talked about in a previous show, like David Byrne's American Utopia, the Spike Lee filming of the Broadway show. I wish that was. I guess it's eligible if Hamilton is.
Right.
I wish that would have shown up in some places at the
Yeah.
year-end awards, but I think
Absolutely. So moving on here, Best Actress in a Supporting Role in Any Motion Picture. We have Glenn Close for Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman for The Father, Jodie Foster for The Mauritanian, Amanda Seyfried for Mank, Helena Zengel for News of the World. So this is one I was looking forward to talking with you about, because from what I've heard, now when Hillbilly Elegy came out, it was not very well received, as not one of Ron Howard's more critically acclaimed movies. But what I've heard is that the Globes and potentially the Oscars are going to give her this award as one of those categories where, well, she's earned it for past roles, so we're going to give it to her here. Is that what you've heard as well?
Yeah, I think that she's had 7 previous Oscar nominations, and it's I don't know, it was somewhat of a shock, like when she lost for the wife.
Yeah.
To Olivia Colman, and she could lose to Olivia Colman again, right in this category. For the favorite. And every year it's become like it used to be like Peter O'Toole or different people got like 7 or 8 nominations. And yes, we always say you don't win for like your best work, but like I now feel people say, please, but not for this, not for this.
That's the thing. Yeah, like I mean, and you know what? Actually, as we record this, we are in the middle of watching Hillbilly Elegy.
Oh.
And, because my wife likes to watch.
Your wife, not you and I. Like we're not actually watching it as we're speaking right now.
Yeah, no, we're actually doing commentary as we.
Yeah, like I'm watching Me Mom and Peepa on the screen as yeah.
No, yeah, we started watching it last night because she wanted to watch it as the Globes are this Sunday, and halfway through, it is a very much a supporting role. She's good in it. Like, now Amy Adams has the showier role in that movie and she overacts. But Glenn Close is very good in it. And it's not like she has like a ton of like Oscar-y moments in it.
The good Terminator and the bad Terminator. And I was like, if that's going to be the Oscar clip, no.
Please let that be the clip.
But
no. So, I don't mind her in it. Let me just say that. But yeah, gosh. It would be weird for this to be the one that finally gets her over that hump, but
yeah,
we'll see.
But yeah, I agree that it will be her.
Yeah. So next category we have Best Motion Picture Foreign Language. We have Another Round, La Llorona, The Life Ahead, Minari, and Two of Us. So, I don't know how much this is going to translate to what's nominated for Oscars. Another Round.
Good pun right there. Good pun.
It's Another Round has gotten a lot of positive feedback. I have yet to see that one, but that one and Minari are the ones that have gotten the most attention, I feel like. So I would guess it'd be one of those. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll be Minari. Because there was also some controversy for this, because it is an American movie. It's an American production, and it's about a Korean family who's living in I want to say Indiana, in the South. And yes, because they're a Korean family, they're mostly speaking Korean to each other. But it's not an international production. It's an American movie through and through. So it won't be in this category at the Oscars. I think it's going to be in a lot of other ones. Right. So this is definitely the biggest one, the A24, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to pick that to win this category. But then it won't be eligible going forward anywhere else for this.
Right, it's like such a weird. We've talked about it before. It's a weird year.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to get in like maybe Best Picture in a group of 10 at the Oscars and stuff. I could see that happening. It's going to have some momentum, but.
Yeah. So. Next category, Best Screenplay Motion Picture. We have Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman, Jack Fincher for Mank, Aaron Sorkin for The Trial of Chicago 7, Florian Zeller and Christopher Hampton for The Father, and Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. I would think this is Aaron Sorkin's. I don't really have much else to say.
Yeah, I think it's Aaron Sorkin. He's one of the most famous screenwriters working. Jack Fincher won't even campaign. He's been dead for 20 years, but you know, but you know, yeah, I think it's. I like that David Fincher and Aaron Sorkin, who I associate both with Social Network, now have their own Netflix competing movies this year. But Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah. So next one we have Best Original Song Motion Picture. We have Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah, Hear My Voice from The Trial of Chicago 7, Scene from The Life Ahead, Speak Now from One Night in Miami, and Tigress and Tweed from The United States versus Billie Holiday. This one, you know, you never know. You don't know where this one's going to go. I feel like momentum for this can kind of go all over the map as it leads to Oscars. So, I mean, maybe the song from Judas and the Black Messiah here, or, you know, that's kind of the one I would lean towards. But
and that's like in the end credits, I think. Right?
Yeah, as the end.
I'm trying to think of like where were these songs, but okay. I guess I'll go with that as well. I don't remember a song in Trial of the Chicago 7, but
like I'll say this about this category: if these songs make it to the Oscar nominations as well, like this is not a knock on the musicians themselves, but to me, just looking at this is not a strong year for original songs.
No, and definitely not a year where like a song actually plays a major factor in the movie.
Right.
These all seem like end credit songs that are in there.
Like, you know, if we had the Bond movie come out, maybe Billie Eilish would have been here.
Yeah, it is cool that One Night in Miami and United States versus Billie Holiday have like their lead actors or actresses also co-wrote the song.
Right.
Andra Day, Leslie Odom Jr. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last category we have here is Best Motion Picture Animated. We have The Croods, A New Age, Onward, Over the Moon, Soul, and Wolfwalkers. To me, this is Soul. You know, all the way. I would think. Yeah. You know, this is I think will be another like a Pixar year. Not having seen Wolfwalkers, Over the Moon is on Netflix. My wife and kids have been trying to get me to watch it, and I have said no so far. But after we record this, I might give it a shot. But I would think Soul will win this. What do you think?
I would say Soul with a spoiler actually being Wolfwalkers, which is because it's the third in that Irish trilogy from the guys that did Secret of Kells.
Right.
And as we used to talk on the podcast 11 years ago, Secret of Kells is the spoiler always. So, and it's Apple TV Plus that's their contender this year. So they're pushing that hard. So, but probably Soul, Wolfwalkers, spoiler.
Right. Well, that is the last category we have, Eric. So what do you think? Are you going to be watching the Globes? Is there anything you're looking forward to, not looking forward to? What do you think?
I'm just in a very general sense, interested in how they pull it off. Obviously, them not all being in the room together is gonna very much deplete the interest or the excitement and fun. Of course, there's still gonna be those cool like tribute reels of all the clips and things like that. Those are always cool. But yeah, it's going to be different without like having audience laughter, audience reaction. So even the speeches, I imagine, are going to be about overcoming the past year. All these kind of things, and it's going to hit a little bit differently when you're not in a room with other people.
I would expect a lot of political and messages about certain topics and subjects to come up in speeches.
How long into the broadcast until we get our first? And that's why movies are important now more than ever.
Yeah, that'll be on your bingo card for the Globe.
I think 8:15, 8:20. Someone will say that for the first time. We'll get it about another 30 times by 11 o'clock.
Yeah, and the fact that and not that I look forward to the fashion part of it, I really don't care about that. But the fact that and the glamour of it and the everybody being in the same room is not going to be there, it does kind of take away from it to the point where you're kind of looking to see how they pull off the broadcast more so, or at least as much so as who wins some of these awards.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird that they will have their hosts in actual locations, I guess, with the whole camera setup and everything like that.
Right.
I guess that'll be interesting to see what they do. I would assume they'd have some cameos show up to the Rainbow Room in Manhattan, and whatever.
Right.
I assume you'd have, right? At this point, we can do temperature checks and stuff like that. So I'd assume they have some things planned.
Yeah, I mean, with the duo that's hosting, I mean, they obviously have very good chemistry together. So
all the SNL people, maybe Bad Bunny will come.
Everywhere else.
I mean, why not? Who else is on SNL? And Pete Davidson will show up. We will see.
Yeah. Hey, I'm looking forward to Bad Bunny now. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but just be on the lookout for Bad Bunny during the Jane Fonda tribute.
And maybe he'll defend the 24/7 championship. You never know.
Hey! To quote our friend Leonard Hayhurst, it's an NBC production, Peacock.
That's
right. I mean, WD Network's going to Peacock, NBC. It's all synergy, man. It's all,
Right. Well,
could happen.
Let us know what you think of the Globes if you decide to watch. Let us know what you think of our picks and our thoughts. We will see what happens. I don't know that this year of the Globes is really going to be as much of a precursor or a laying the groundwork for the Oscars as much as it has been in years past. I feel like there's always oddities in the Globes, but I feel like there's enough of those here that the Oscars will be its own thing.
And last year at the Globes, like I was looking back, like the big winner was 1917, and then like by the time we got to the Oscars, like it was still predicted in director and stuff, and then obviously that didn't go that way, which was cool. But and in there the gap was shorter. I feel like it was like a month and a half. Now I feel like given the longevity of this entire season, that things get hot and things get cold and very, very quickly.
It's weird that the Oscars are going to be close to my birthday this year. Like that's just so strange to me.
Yeah, and then I assume next year's will honor from like March 1st through December 31st. They haven't said anything yet, but I assume that's how that's going to play out.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Let us know what you think. For Erik, my name is Chad, and we will see you next week.